Hey there, this is Mike from Sword and Board Games, and today I'm going to be doing an overview of the roll and write solo only tower defense game called Choose Tactics. In Choose Tactics, you're going to be defending your city from oncoming attacks, represented as these red arrows. And as you can see over here, these are your tactics. You're going to be completing them so you can defend your city and filling in these spots so you don't get attacked. As you can see, there are 8 rounds, and these symbols dictate what's going to happen during each round. So on the first round, you can see you have a white flag, meaning this column here, these 2 arrows in here, you don't have to worry about them. You have time to prepare. But you'll notice in the 5th and 6th rounds, you do have to worry about these columns. You will be attacked. That's what the red flag means. So nothing happens. It's peaceful. Then you roll your die. Let's say I rolled an 11. Then you look over here and see which it corresponds to. Here's 11. So you are going to be using these actions here, which I already conveniently covered. You're going to be choosing from 1, 2, 3. Then you'll notice there's a top and a bottom part. You can only choose one of the bottom parts. They're kind of like more powerful actions or abilities. So say you want a coin, I would choose the bottom part of this action. And that means I would have to choose the top parts of the other 2 actions. So let's see, I would get a coin. You would fill in a spot here. Coins let you modify your rolls. I'll talk about that later. And then you get an action 2, 3, 3, and 4. Okay, so let's talk about the different actions. Action 1, you'll notice there's a lot of ones up here, over here. They let you fill in the tactics. The tactics are what you're going to be using to defend your city. So when that happens, if you get a 1 to use, you cross off a box, meaning you would cover one of the red tactics here. If you went down here to go this way, you could cover up some blue tactics. Once a tactic is completely covered, you get the points, and then you can only use each tactic only once. The red tactics, you have to place just how they are. You can't move them or anything. The blue tactics, you can rotate them, you can shift them, you can orient them however you want, as long as they keep their same basic shape. They're worth a few more points. Section 2, you have to fill in these rows going left to right. As you can see, the top one, you get something during your income phase. Each round after you fill this in completely, you would get to cross off a red, then a blue, alternating. The second one, you get extra range when you attack, which you need later in the game. And the third one is just more points. Over here, there are extra attacks. Section 3 is the council, which is part of winning this specific scenario. This will be a campaign. This is just scenario 1. So the first section, right, and you'll notice that these correspond to the weather icons here. A lot of things correspond to the weather. So depending on which order you chose, like if I chose this one, it's sunny, I'd have to fill in a box here going left to right, top to bottom. So you have to fill in one of these boxes completely in order to win the first scenario. And then section 4 is travel. You would start here, then you'd go up or wherever, but you choose a different circle along your path. If I went here, here, and here, I would get this bonus here, which is an extra tactic to use to defend my city. If I went here, I would, and these 3, 1, 2, 3, I would be able to color in another red tactic box, and so on. I'll explain more during my playthrough, which should be finished editing. We'll see. And this is just where you keep all your gold. Gold is used to modify things. Say I wanted a tactic. I wanted a number 1 action, but I had a 2. I could spend a gold to modify this to either a 1 or a 3, and so on. You can plus minus 1, but you can't go from 1. You can't go from 4 to 1 and 1 to 4. It doesn't work that way. And then, so that's one thing you can do. You can also spend in order. So like I could spend a 3 if I had a filled tactic and I didn't want to go to the council. I could use it as range. Range as in, if I'm going to use this one here, if I had this tactic filled in, I could start it at 1, 2, 3 here. I could fill this in. And then gold can also be used to add extra range if you want to get arrows that are further up. Then you'll notice that there's a weather icon here, meaning the enemy reacts. So you're going to fill in a box based on whichever bottom part you chose. So if I chose this bottom part, sunny, I would fill in up this first box here, meaning they get reinforcements. They get to go further up, and then these arrows would activate, making it harder and harder to cover, much harder to cover, and then they'd be doing more damage on their attack phase. And that's it. So the win condition of the first scenario is you have to get 10 plus points and complete at least one track on the council. This is the council. And there's also achievements if you're just super good at this game, which I am not. I guess the last thing I want to talk about is once you complete an entire row, you get to cross this guy off and get whatever bonus is on the far right. Whichever are not crossed off and whichever spaces are not filled in, they're worth negative points along with how much damage you take. If one arrow gets through, you cross this off and you lose this many points at the end of the game. That's it. I should have a playthrough video coming up soon if it's not already. Check that out if you want to see some gameplay. Thanks for watching.